Hello, everybody. Welcome to New Comic Book Day Book Club. This is, if you can believe it, only or remarkably our 2-year anniversary. I can't tell if it feels like just yesterday or an eternity ago.
Depends on which book we're talking about.
Much like this year itself has both flown by and been excruciatingly long in some ways.
Yep. That's been really our content in most ways.
But the good news is I look much older than 2 years.
Congrats on that, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. I really did my best to cultivate these bags under my eyes. You look great though, John.
I don't know, but I'm wearing glasses more often on live streams.
Is that because you want to look more learned, or because you can't see?
I do like to know what people in the chat are saying about me.
Yeah. And for our 2-year anniversary, we have appropriately 2 people watching right now: Comic Man Andy and No Good Comics. Thanks for stopping by, guys, and thanks to YouTube for fixing the algorithm where you can know when live streams are happening again. They didn't.
No, that's not going to happen anytime soon.
But yeah, it was. Let's take a quick walk down memory lane and remember how 2 years ago, when I was a bushy-tailed young YouTuber who actually made content and had hopes and dreams for disseminating useful information to the comic community, and I saw this guy called John's Comics with Kids, and I said, hey, we should do a show together because no one else will have me. And that's how I saw it. Remember it happening. What about you, buddy?
I'm not going to top that. I legitimately remember you asking, and I was like, somebody wants to do something with me on this stupid YouTube thing. This is crazy. And then I'm like, I have to figure out where I'm going to do a live stream. So the first show, I'm in my kitchen. I'm using thumbtacks to put up hang comics in their bags behind me. And you can hear the echo of the room because it's like such a tiny space.
Look how far we've come.
I even put a Edge of Spider-Verse with the first appearance of Spider-Gwen on the wall with a thumbtack.
Well, appropriately, because we were reading Ghost Spider #1.
Right. It was within theme, not within a range of intelligence.
Well, also at the time, that was not like a $900 book.
It was hilarious.
Different times.
Right.
Comics was Explained. Thanks for hopping in. And just a Rican and his comics. Always nice to see you. Thank you for the well wishes. So we have a very loose plan for this evening. I would say we're kind of going to talk about some of our most favorite and least favorite books that we've read on the show so far. And then if anybody wants to hop in, just let us know. We'll send you the link and you can come in and talk about how you can't believe we are still doing this, or or whatever you want to talk about. It's my channel, and there's no rules, just right. We'll give you a bloomin' onion. It's an Outback Steakhouse. Chaos and Comics says, what did you guys get me for your anniversary? This awkward show. TJ, thanks for stopping by. Always nice to see you, buddy. So do you want to dive right into our lists, or do you want to?
I mean, I naturally went and like started over analyzing all of it, like looking. So I showed Alec before we went live on the other show. Like I had this like epic list of all the shows that we did. I went and cataloged in order all the shows that we did. And these are the ones that are not like old book club where we're reading something from the past. So it's all on there. Thanks for the super chat, Rod.
Yeah, thank you. $2 super chat from Rod, just a week in his comics. And hi to I Got Issues. What's up? I think John already sent you the link if you want to hop in. If you can't, totally get it. It's a late night.
So, but doing that, I definitely noticed some of the things that I think we noticed, which is that Image and indies in general were the highlights overall, I would say, in this time frame. People who say that I'm a Marvel guy will note that I only had one Marvel book in my top 5, and I had a ton of them in my bottom 5.
Chaos and Comics says, no lights on at Alex's house. I can only see a mouth and eyes. That's my secret. I am only a mouth and eyes. And hey, what's up, Comic Head 84? Nice of you to stop by. What's up, buddy? All right. Well, do you want to go first?
So
in contrast to what John did, I went pure knee jerk and just went down the list and said, "Yep, that one I liked, that one I didn't," until I had roughly the same amount for both.
There you go. So we're doing favorites, least favorites, starting at 5, 10, 7. What are we doing here?
I mean,
this is how we do our shows. There's no planning, folks.
Yeah, because of the tone of what the show typically is, we're probably going to talk more about the books we didn't like. So do you want to get that out of the way, or do you want to save that?
No, that's fine. That's fine. Definitely can. So I have 3 Marvel books in my bottom 5 books. And I'm going to start with a book that probably could be on the list several times, which is Guardians of the Galaxy. Because we reviewed Guardians of the Galaxy, I think, 3 times in 2 years. It almost doesn't feel like a year going by if we haven't read an issue of Guardians of the Galaxy and dumped on it.
Well, hopefully next year we can break that trend.
So I'm going to pick not the Donny Cates run, the follow-up run by, was it Al Ewing?
Yeah,
I don't even remember. Which was not a good issue number 1. I did not like either one, but I'm just going to pick on Al Ewing a little bit and say my number 5 worst book that we read for book club was Al Ewing's Guardians number 1.
And hey, great writer, you just can't win them all.
Well, yeah, and I've notoriously said, like, I have yet to read a really great Guardians of the Galaxy run. Like, I just haven't found it, and people have recommended a few, and I just haven't gotten around to reading them. But any of the ones I've bought off the shelf, I have been disappointed by.
While I agree, I did not enjoy that. That did not make my list. And to be a contrarian, I did a bottom and top 7.
Ooh, I could try to weasel in a couple more here.
My number 7 was the aforementioned Ghost Spider. That book was we really started off with a bang and kind of set the tone for the show. Although I feel like looking back on it, I haven't watched it since we did it, but I'm willing to bet we probably were a little kinder to it than we would have been if we read it these days.
That's probably true.
Because we're trying to kind of still be like, oh, hey, we're just talking about comics. We're a couple of fun guys. Now we're just like, screw everything. Comics are the worst.
We've gotten jaded. Is that what you're saying?
No, I think we just have embraced our own hatred,
our own demise. Well, then I will definitely. Yeah, if I was going to do a 7, then yeah, let's put Spider-Gwen in that 7 spot for me as well. I'm going to try to find a 6 here, but yeah, I mean, it was not a good read. It was not a good read, and yeah, we came out of the gates hot and heavy, just spitting fire. No, but it didn't go over well.
Chaos and Comics says, I was on books we all like. Hopefully these make them Monsters and Southern Bastards. So for me, and I think, John, you said this too before we went up live, that anything that we had read beforehand that we like recommended to read for the show, we didn't count. So Southern Bastards for me didn't count because I had previously read that, so I already knew I liked it. So it was only
If we
books.
read it as like a trade, or if we read it digitally later on, like we did the New Teen Titans issue 1, we did a few older books. We didn't count any of that. It had to be something new from that week.
Yeah.
Although I did break that rule for one book we'll get to in the top 5.
Bearded Comic Bro, hello. Gore Vidal, what's up? Superior Hero Reviews, thank you all for joining.
I hope you get Comic Head, because that was the one right above Superior there.
Oh yeah, this is the first show I was invited to be a guest on. You guys rock.
That's cool. I didn't know that. I forgot about that, man. That's cool.
We are.
And if you want to jump in and say, hey, all previous guests are in the chat. Everybody in the chat, I think, has been on the show.
This show, strangely, is comic book YouTube, for better or worse. I think like basically everyone from Comic Tom down to like people who don't even have channels. You know, we had my podcast buddies on one episode.
I saw that. I went back through.
So, what's next on your list?
So that I did my number 7 and I did my number 5. So I'm looking for a number 6. You can do your number 6.
Harleen.
Ooh. I've since reread and bought all the other issues, and I do really enjoy it as a whole now. But I know that when we read it, we put JP through the ringer a little bit on that one. It earned our stripes with a few people.
Yeah, that one really rubbed me the wrong way. And I've heard people say that they really like it, but that is not the first time you'll hear me say that about books that I did not like on this list.
You know what? I'm gonna throw it in here. And I think I was pretty nice to it when we read it. I think my number 6 is gonna be the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers book we read. And I'm sorry, Burke. I'm just not a fan of the universe. It was not for me. I am not an MSRP guy.
I mean, going back over the list and like really kind of remembering all the books we read, most of them were either forgettable or average.
Right. Which you'd expect, I think.
Right. And for me, like Power Rangers kind of fell into that, where it was kind of just like, yeah, this was a fine read. It didn't offend me, but it didn't excite me either.
Right.
But I can see how if you have no interest in the universe whatsoever, it's going to be a real trudge to get through.
Yeah. So, I mean, out of just by proxy, I guess in that way, it would be I will say there were others that were close, like, maybe it'll come up on your list. I don't want to burn that bridge. But yeah, that would probably be number 6 for me. And then number 5 was that Guardians. X-Men 14 train just won't stop. Uh-oh. What's TJ Stock talking about now?
I don't know.
Again, if you've been a past guest and want to join us, let me know on Instagram. I can drop you the link there if you want.
My next book is another favorite childhood property of mine, which the book I really hated was G.I. Joe.
that was going to be my number 4.
So good, just in time to talk about it together.
Yeah, I mean, I was nicer than you and Bueller when we had Bueller on to talk about the current IDW run that has, like, don't they kill Duke, like, or Hawk or somebody like that right at the beginning?
And wasn't that one of those episodes where we didn't have a guest and Bueller was in the chat and he's just like, send me the link, I have shit to say about this book?
Something like that, I think.
He was just so enraged about it.
That's funny. Bueller, shout out to him. He was one of the guests. Bueller, and we mentioned Tony Sanders off air. Some of the guys that have been on this show more than anybody.
Multiple times, yeah.
And so shout out to those people hanging with us and being willing to stay up stupid late to talk funny books. I think it had like potential, but it derails so quickly and so often.
Yeah, and there were like so many things that like I didn't like it overall, and I didn't like it on more of a micro scale either. Like there was things wrong panel to panel, and through the whole book. It just was, and for something that I love so much, and it was like, such a big part of my childhood.
Yeah.
It's a drag to see that it's not being represented better.
Well, and I will say that going back and watching the TV show as an adult, I also feel let down there as well. And it might just be my the nostalgia of being a kid and playing with the toys and all that stuff. But I feel like the comics, the original run, hold up pretty well.
Yeah, and to me, like, I think G.I. Joe, the draw for me was the character designs. They were just so, especially the Cobra guys, they were just so cool looking, and the toys were so much fun, and they came with so many cool accessories, and the package artwork was great. It was just the whole thing.
Yeah, so that's we've done 7, 6, 5, 4. We're in the top 3 now.
I still have that was my number 5.
Okay, so I did Spider-Gwen, I did Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, I did G.I. Joe, and I did Guardian.
We got this guy here. What's up, brother?
2 days in a row, I get to see John's handsome face.
You're blessed.
I'm doing my white whale impersonation.
Yeah, got that COVID beard going, huh?
Yeah, going strong, just like COVID.
How you been?
Good. I can't complain. And I wasn't actually expecting an invite, so I tuned in, and then you were like, John sent you the email, and I had to go brush my teeth and change my shirt.
I never do either of those things, so you certainly didn't have to, but I appreciate it.
The problem was that I was wearing the same shirt that I wore for John yesterday. So that would have, been really bad for me to,
I'm wearing the same one though.
I don't want to look that homeless,
And then there's John.
And for those of you old school fans, remember that the first time Issues was on, he was wearing a panda head and used the restroom during the episode.
It's true.
One of the greatest moments in book club history.
Wiped and flushed and everything.
What was the book? I don't even remember what book it was.
Oh man, that's a good question. Shoot.
It was near the beginning, right?
Yeah. I think that's secondary to the
event.
I've been on the show like 4 times.
Yeah, we did Usagi together recently, or somewhat recently.
I did. I jumped on for the Nova show when all your guests bailed.
Yep.
And I think I did one of the Guardian shows.
That's what I was thinking. It was either the first Kate's one, or we did Kate's issues 2 and 3 together.
I don't think I did the Kate's one. I think I did the relaunch Guardians.
The Ewing one.
Yeah, I don't think I did the original one. I think that was. It was Bueller or Kavi, maybe.
Maybe.
One of those two fine gentlemen. I remember specifically because I was bummed that it wasn't me, because I was anticipating that it was going to be really good. And it wasn't. That if I were to make a list of the worst comic books you guys have reviewed, I would put both the Guardians books on my worst list.
I legitimately said we could have had the top 3 be all Guardians books, because 3 Guardians shows.
So brutal. And when you have names like Al Ewing and Donnie Cates attached, that makes it even worse.
Right, because you're expecting they do other books so well.
Yeah. I think you could have expected going in that Sabrina was going to be a terrible book.
Right.
And it was fine.
That one was not bad. No, I didn't make the list.
Was it though?
I mean, it wasn't. It didn't offend me the way some of these other books have. It was just it was white bread. It was just unbuttered toast. It was just bland.
All right. Well, then we're in the top. Did you have one you were about to say? Your number 4? Is that what you were on?
Yeah. 7 Secrets.
Yeah. I'm not a fan, but I didn't put it in the top 7, but it was definitely down there for sure.
Yeah. It just, Yeah, Beard Comic Bro said, have you actually read books you guys have liked? Yeah, we're going to do that list next.
It's a much shorter list, so they saved it for later.
I made sure to pick the same amount, so it didn't seem like I was being too weighted on one side or another. But yeah, Seven Secrets, real stinker for me. Not my cup of tea.
Yeah, and I know people that really liked it. I strongly disliked it as well. It's 3 books long, says Bearded. Yeah, it's a top 10. It's 3 books long. All right, top 3. I'm gonna throw. This is where I'm throwing Deceased in here. I'm Deceased issue number 1. That first run, it's just bad. It's just bad, and I still will happily stand by it, even though there were later issues I enjoyed somewhat. That issue, the art alone, you put it on this list for the crappy, inconsistent. Let's hire 5 artists and do a book. Like that alone earned it.
My number 3, honestly, like I might dislike it more than my top 2, but my top 2 had to be the top 2 because of the lore of how bad they are. But my number 3 is Unkindness of Ravens.
You did hate that book.
Man. Yeah, that is making me mad just thinking about
it. TJ's giving me the angry face, agree to disagree. Oh my gosh. Then Alex top 5 is 3 issues of Missing Pieces.
Not my top 5. You know anything about me? All I do is shit on my own work.
No. I thought he meant of his like least liked books.
Oh yeah, my least liked probably.
Just crap all over it. That's hilarious. All right, I'm gonna do number 2. I'm gonna do that Star Wars Bounty Hunter book we read. And
really, you hated that much?
I on rewatch and reread that book. Just I've gotten more frustrated with it the more, and I had huge high hopes for it, and yeah, that one. I mean, the amount of potential and the waste. I just was supremely disappointed by that.
My number 2, I am sure, is your number 1 is Captain Marvel.
It is, yeah. Captain Marvel is my number 1.
Absolutely. That had to be in the top 2, regardless, right?
Yeah. And my number 1 is Deceased.
There you go.
So no surprise there. Few.
Yeah, I mean, Deceased and Captain Marvel are ongoing jokes on on this show.
Yeah. Captain Marvel was with Tony Sanders, and that was the most fun book to roast.
Yeah.
We really had a good time, like being frustrated with how bad the book was.
And I think for Deceased, we drove Comic Smurf off of the YouTube world.
Yeah, that's the last year anyone ever saw him.
We destroyed Comic Smurf by shitting on Deceased.
Because he came in being like, oh, I kind of like this book. And by the end, he's like, oh, now I see this in a whole new light. It's terrible.
And then you quit comics and became a farmer.
Yeah, he became a farmer.
I hope you guys are proud of yourselves.
I'm never proud of myself.
We have anything but pride.
Yeah.
TJ says Captain Marvel is his favorite episode because it's so funny.
Captain Marvel, he's scale now. That's like your, litmus test for the dumpster fire book.
Yeah. How many dumpster fires is it? Is it Captain Marvel amount of dumpster fires?
Yeah. I would be curious how many times we even used the term dumpster fire in that one episode. Oh, man.
So now shifting gears to positivity.
Which is an outlier for this show.
Yeah, you would think, but I definitely came up with a solid 7 with another one with an asterisk on it.
All right, you want top 7. All right. Okay, I can do that.
Well, I was on 4, so there you go.
I'm gonna go. Okay, I got it.
KSN Comics. This should be our new T-shirt.
So now, if we're doing a top 7, I have 2 Marvel books in the 7, but only 1 in my top 5. Versus in the bottom 7, let's see, 1 Marvel, 2 3. And that, I think that Star Wars one is Marvel. So 4 of my bottom 7. So there you go. Take a shot at it. Number 7, I'm going to pick Meet the Scrolls.
Okay, that is on my list, but not number 7.
Technically, we read it when the last issue dropped, but I count that as not like I didn't read it in trade or something a month later or whatever.
Yeah.
So Meet the Scrolls, yeah. I thought that was a really good read, and a lot of people weren't talking about it, and you were like, you got to read this, and I was glad I could go out and get a set of all the books, and yeah, it was great. It was really underappreciated.
My number 7 was Something's Killing the Children. I feel like I like it more in hindsight than I probably did during the episode. So if someone rewatched that recently, it was like, well, you just said you didn't like it that much at the time. Especially looking at the list of books that we've read, it definitely had to make the cut.
You're like, there's so much crap here that it's like it just rose to the top.
See, even in the positive list, we still bring in the negativity.
Yeah, that one's definitely going to appear later on my list. Alienated would be number 6 for me.
Yeah, I figured that would be on your list.
And if we had read issues 3 and 4, I would have put it on here twice for 2 different shows because 3 and 4 are the best issues in that run. It's only 5 issues long or 6 issues long, but 3, that story is just really powerful and it's really well done. So for me, it's going to be one of the best reads of 2020 for sure.
Cosmos Explains that something is littling the birds.
He's so ready for Little Bird. I sent you the link, Jason, if you want to come on, man. I know he's been our guest before too.
Number 6 for me was Faithless, because I'm a big old perv who likes magic mixed with his sexuality. I don't know. But I really enjoy that book. I still enjoy that book. I think it's underrated.
I think the covers alone are probably worth price of admission.
Those bagged covers, hell yeah.
The bagged covers, obviously. Yeah.
Frizzin' for the win. Yeah, I mean, I didn't love it as much as you. I think I ended up reading 2 issues and then like I was kind of done with it.
Yeah, well, you also have kids in your house.
Right, but like they don't care what I'm reading. If I'm reading it, usually that's a sign that they want to stay away. My kids know my taste. So I'm breaking the rule that you kind of set for this, and I'm picking Little Bird for number 5. So there you go, Jason. I know technically we read it after it was done, but we were talking about it almost every week it dropped. Even if we weren't reviewing the book, we were like, hey, a new Little Bird came out. Yeah. So this is just a great book, and I'm so glad I got the hardcover edition, and it's just an awesome read. There's just nothing like it, and absolutely appreciate that how completely different than anything out there it is. So yeah, it's top 5 material for me for sure.
Alex, he's gonna get his Little Bird short box that he
right, all his 9/8. He's got all the 9/8.
The whole like six sets, every variant, every printing, multiple trades.
Right. Bearded says that's why I'm John's kid. If he likes it, I probably don't, and vice versa. There you go. You fit in with the clan well, Greg.
I thought I had it handy. I have a terribly miscut copy of Little Bird number 1 I was going to show.
Oh, nice. You can open it on screen and drop it a couple of times and you won't mind.
Next, number 5 on my list is Strange Skies over East Berlin.
I would say I'd probably put Alienated on and bumped Strange Skies as a result. And Scrolls too, I guess. I look back on that show we did reading Strange Skies because we had Jabroni on with us, and it was a fun talk, the fun discussion, because there was so much going on in there. And it was nice to have somebody like Jabroni in there just to shake it up a little bit, because I think we forced him to read it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it was something that he probably would have picked up on his own.
Yeah, it was a fun discussion. But what a mad, wild, trippy book.
Yeah, a lot of fun. I really enjoy it, or enjoyed it. I guess it's done.
Ooh, House of Penance by Ian Bertram. I don't know it. What's the publisher, Chris? I'll write it down.
What's next on your list?
So that I did number 5 was Little Bird. Are you on your number 5?
Yeah, my number 5 was Strange Skies.
Oh, okay, sorry. So number 4 for me is Something's Killing the Children. Yeah. And I would hold up my Frizzen cover for number 1, but it's getting pressed and cleaned to be sent off.
Yeah, hot book.
Well, I just want it. I mean, I love that cover. I love all the Frizzen covers. In fact, I bought the Frizzen one for this week.
Yeah, it's a real nice looking book.
Oh my gosh, what a beautiful cover, right? I mean, they're all just gorgeous covers, and I love the character. I think Erica Slaughter is going to be a really interesting character to read beyond this monster in this town. I think they could really go a lot of ways with her character, and I love the setup. And it was that first issue was a great jump in spot.
Number 4 for me was That Texas Blood. Even though issue 2 was like such a strange kind of left turn for where the first issue was, that first issue on its own just still sticks with me as one of the recent books that I really, really, really enjoyed as a single issue.
Yeah, I know you were crazy about it. And I haven't read past issue 2, so I don't know how well it's been going since then.
Oh, don't ask me.
Oh, never mind. You're like, it's top 3 for me, but I'm not reading it anymore.
Just because it's top 3 on the show doesn't mean that it cracked like the top
Right.
30 of books in existence right
Yeah,
now.
right. Exactly.
That's more a comment on our show than anything. Right? Number 3 for me is Middle West. And I've actually now caught up. I think I'm trying to read the whole run, and I've got, I think, 3 issues left, but it's been really good. And I only stopped reading it and picking it up because I just didn't want to have another long ongoing. But once they were ending it, then I was like, okay, now I got to go find all the issues. So yeah, Middle West is great. And Image had a bunch of books during these 2 years that I think have stuck with me in a big way. And that's one of them.
Next up for me is Meet the Scrolls. I mean, that's just like right up my alley for what I want out of my big 2 books. It is in universe, but also still kind of like weird and filled with personality and interesting, but can also kind of have an impact on what's happening on the greater scale. And I just thought it was a really, really interesting little miniseries that not a lot of people were talking about when it first came out, which is too bad because Marvel should do more stuff like that. I know you're listening, Marvel.
Yeah, they're all paying attention. Yeah, and it's funny because my number 2 is my only other Marvel book, and it's House of X. I think we did a Powers of X or Powers of 10 as well, and I really appreciate what Hickman's doing and what he did and how he kicked it all off. And so it's going to be a book that I'm glad I have, and I'm happy to enjoy reading again and again. So yeah, that's my number 2 for sure.
And I will say also that there were like a lot of honorable mentions. House and Powers, Goon, Usagi Yojimbo. There were like a lot of things I was like, yeah, I really enjoyed these, but and I mean, if I'm looking at things like as a whole, something like Usagi would probably get put a lot higher, but just the single issue, I thought was very good, but it didn't, it's Usagi. Like, what you're getting if you have read Usagi. So, and that was with issues. But my number 2, and I guess you can make the same argument for this because it's something I've read a lot of, but it was Criminal, number 1. That's just like hits the absolute sweet spot for me for what I look for in good comics. So I had to put it real high on my list.
And that was Comics Misexplained joined
Yep.
us for that one. So he's still in the chat. Thanks, Jason. And
Man.
I've been talking criminal with him ever since.
And I'm
Once a year.
I'm going to guess we have the same number one.
It's possible.
Yep.
There it is. Numero uno die. I mean, it had to be like I don't. And it's hilarious because it was our seventh show.
Was it really?
It was our seventh show. Middle West was the fifth, and this was the seventh.
Wow.
Yeah. So we started strong, and it's not anywhere close anymore.
And yeah, so that was my number one. My number one was with an asterisk would be Little Bird because we read that when the hardcover came out and talked about it. So that's why we were talking about it as it came out, but the official episode wasn't until much later, and we did it based on the fact that we knew we liked it a lot. So that's why I didn't include it.
Is that Jim Lee drawing behind you? I think it's Jim Lee. Yep, that's Jim Lee Wonder Woman. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a great number one. What a great jumping on point design layout, and it's obviously continued to live up to that in some ways for me. And that number one had everything I think would want from an Image number one. It had an unusual idea, unusually told, powerful artwork, and a universe to explore. So yeah,
and
I mean,
it was really gripping cover.
Right.
Yeah, it's the total package.
I was going to quickly click on a GIF, and I realized we're on the show.
It's a shame that it almost 2 full years later we still have not gotten something better than it.
Yeah, I guess it's in. I'm trying to think of what we read in the last annual year here, and I don't think I had anything cracking the top 7 except for Alienated. That was about it.
Yeah, I think that Texas Blood for me is the newest thing on my list.
There you go.
Which is pretty recent. That was only a couple months ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there were some honorable mentions from Marvel for me, and DC. My highest ranked DC book was Batman Damned. I had that near the top.
Yeah, I like Batman Damned a lot too.
Yeah, and then I like Deadman Logan and Daredevil as well. But Daredevil 1, if I was just ranking that one issue, it fell a lot lower. But if I'm ranking,
I remember you were not so hot on it.
Yeah, if I'm ranking the Zdarsky run, then it ranks higher. But that first issue, I want to reread it again. But I've read it twice, and it still just feels a little uneven to me. It didn't have its feet right away.
The first few issues on Daredevil are like that. I mean, I would definitely agree. As much it makes sense when you guys say it like that, because if I was going to say off the top of my head like a good episode, I would pick Daredevil. But when you talk about just that issue, yeah, for sure. Because the first 3 or 4 issues are kind of like setting the stage for the book. And so it doesn't get as good until after it hits its stride, which is tough too, because for that time period, I think the fact that there's not more good books on the show is more a reflection on looking at things in an individual issue standpoint.
Oh, absolutely.
It's really tough to pick up a number one of anything and just say that book alone holds its weight. It's tough. There's not a lot of books like a Middle West or a Die or a Criminal or Little Bird that do that. And most of these major, but Captain Marvel was a huge dumpster fire, and as a series, it's gotten significantly better since then.
Sure, and people say the same thing about Deceased. I'm sure if I went back and read more of a lot of the series that are on my bottom list, I probably would like them a lot better, because it is hard to not, make a first issue feel like a lot of setup, and sometimes that's its own fault, not blame fault, but fault as an error.
think it's just the nature of writing a book, right? If you're new and you're trying to relaunch a book, very few people feel comfortable just jumping straight into something and not giving you all of that exposition that you guys love so much.
Right. Well, yeah. I think an issue 1 has to do that balancing act that an issue 2 or 3 doesn't have to, which is new reader and longtime reader. I've got to make all of them happy. And an image number 1 obviously doesn't have that challenge, and that expectation.
I was really happy to see you guys show Die number 1. I just remember like what an impact that had on me too when I read that. I was just getting into Dungeons and Dragons and how things worked, and it was just kind of perfect timing. And it was just so interesting, a different premise. The art was amazing, and it had great writing. It was cherry on top of it. It wasn't just a pretty book.
Yeah.
Hey, Jason, thanks for coming, man.
Yeah, dude. I just want to say hi real quick, man. I'm passing out, sitting down, but
no, it's fine.
I just want to say, I had to say thank you guys for bringing me on too for Criminal. And I forget something else. I feel like I've been on another time.
I've been
Sure, you must have been.
Yeah, I don't remember what, but it was a good time. But yeah, thank you guys. I feel like Kenny too. I don't know if that was the first show I ever got invited on or not. I think it might have been as well. But yeah, so I just want to say, like, I love you guys, man. Thank you for having me. And this is awesome. Happy 2-year anniversary. I think most of us look forward to seeing, every episode every week. So it's a good time. Even if we can't catch live, we catch replay. My favorite thing to do at work is watch videos. I'm like Alec. A lot of times I'm alone at work for a couple hours at least, and so I'll catch a bunch of videos then. And I always watch you guys, so it's always a good time.
Well, thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah, man.
Through all the negativity.
And issues also, man. I'm looking forward to another episode of Comics with Issues, dude. Like, Comics is Therapy, I should say. That is some of the best YouTube out there. So, yeah, hope to see another one sometime soon.
We're gonna get there eventually.
Nice.
Yeah, it's the sort of thing where, like, it is something that I am also like pretty proud of having done, I should say, and I just don't want it to turn into something that we have to like force it to be episodes, because it will kind of lose some of the importance of it, I think.
Agreed.
All right, guys. So I just want to swing by real quick and say thank you.
Thanks for stopping in, buddy.
Yeah. All right, guys.
See you not this Sunday, but
oh yeah, that's right. This weekend is Baltimore Comic Con.
Yeah,
I will be moderating every now and then, like in the chat. The Blue wrenching it up. So, all right, guys.
All right. Have a good night.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree that the state of comic books has an effect as well on the enjoyment of issue number 1s and how that goes. So right now, I feel like there's at least at the big 2, there's a big crackdown on what a number 1 issue is and how it can work, and that's why I think we tend to go for a lot of more independent publishers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
well,
especially
like Alex Big 2 pick with Meet the Strolls. I mean, that might as well be an indie book.
Yeah.
Masquerading as a Marvel title. So.
I mean, but hey, leave it up to me to pick something that's basically an indie book.
It's just who you are, man.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's about the long and short of what we had planned for tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's not so, we don't need to be making this some huge to do, but it was just kind of fun to look back at I don't know, something 80, 90 shows, and just kind of look at how well we've done trying to find good books and then dealing with books that are less than we hope.
I think you guys balanced it all well too, and like adapting as the show has progressed. To not forcing yourself to read a new book if there's nothing that even looks good. Incorporating older books. With the old comic book day book club idea,
Yeah.
And now sort of the newer form where you get a chance to kind of talk about a few different books instead of just focusing on one. It leaves you more room to maybe be able to spotlight something that was enjoyable instead of pre-picking a book that maybe ends up being disappointing, and then you're stuck talking about it for 45 minutes.
Yeah, which have definitely been some episodes where we're just like, oh, what else do we have to say about this? I guess we need to figure something out for another 10, 15 minutes because we're not, and I don't know why we feel the need to stick to an hour, but you know.
Because that's what the people want, damn it.
Is it though?
Stretch. Oh, TJ, come on now.
TJ, we do make a 2-hour show every Wednesday. You just hate the first half of it. Watch us on the Comic Core every Wednesday night.
He wants you to stretch this one out so that you can.
Yeah, to get rid of that one.
Overlap.
Yeah.
Anything you want to plug, buddy?
I have a new edited video dropping tomorrow afternoon, so it's 3:45 my time. That's 6:45 Eastern. It's my pull list video looking at what's coming out next week. I use some of the I Got Issues covers that he drops every day. He just dropped his epic list today because there is a ton of TMNT covers.
It was stupid. It took me a stupid amount of time to put that stupid list together.
And I made that same comment because I was like, obviously TMNT is on the list. It's going to be something I want to read. And I was like, I'm not even going to show you half of the covers. Here's like 7. Like here's just a few.
There's like 64 covers to that book.
It's stupid. And you made a great comment, which I think because there's a ton of people posting about how, LCSs are getting shorted. This is a book that's going to go to $50 already. You got to get rushed. It's like there are so freaking many of this book.
I just actually did, for anyone who follows me, if you care, I just did an actual post with slides of like a breakdown in my actual IG post instead of in my story, because so many people hit me up talking about that after the stuff that I said on my list post. And the short condensed version that I'll share real quick is that, IDW set a preset print count diamond claims because of paper size shortages or something like that, whatever they want to make up. But the consensus is that there's somewhere around a 20% allocation on books ordered. And this has in turn made people run around screaming that the sky is falling, that this is going to somehow be some sort of scarce book. And the reality is that with over 130,000 copies ordered, even at a 20% allocation, it's still a 100,000 plus print run book. And that's not counting the 10 to 15,000 exclusive copies, because those are not included in what IDW store print run is being recorded as. So with 115 to 120,000 copies of this book being available come, next week, it's not a book that is scarce or hard to find, or that anybody in their right mind should be going on eBay right now and spending $40, $50, $60 on, especially because half of the exclusives that I posted are still available.
Totally available. Yeah.
And $5 or less.
And you even said that sites like, Midtown?
Midtown, as of an hour ago, it's a 1 per customer limit, but they still have regular copies at $8.99 plus shipping. For $12, you can have a copy off of Midtown. And instead, I've seen completed sales today for $40 plus shipping off of eBay. I mean,
that is so stupid.
Amongst some people in our community is insane.
That is a very rational and logical argument, but unfortunately, no one cares about rationality or logic when it comes to the speculation market.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's really what's fueling this. It's flippers fueling fear to try to jack up prices a little bit, because the reality is that if you're actually a TMNT fan, for however many of us actually really truly exist, you shouldn't be fearful that 100,000 print run book is going to be scarce or hard to find.
Well, and I also think the one element that's never brought up in these, and I know we need to finish, but is the like lazy element, which is that like people find out they can't maybe can't get it at their LCS, and now they're like more willing to pay $50
because they don't want to drive to the next store.
So there's that laziness element that's just like, oh, I only know two things. I know my LCS and I know eBay, and those are the only things I have in my radar right now.
I also know of a shop that ordered 30 copies. They got allocated the 20%, which leaves them with 24 copies, and they have 6 customers who asked for a copy of that book. So there's what are the real chances of a shortage? Most stores order over however many pull customers they have. And how many pull customers do you have for TMNT? The last ongoing issue of TMNT had a 21,000 copy print run. So apparently 80,000 more people became Turtle fans and are worried that there's not going to be enough books at their shop.
Yeah, but I've also
time, but it boggles my mind.
I've likened the speculation market these days to like a game of hot potato, where speculators are selling to different speculators who think that they're getting a deal so that they can flip it, and then they're just passing it around until someone's stuck with the potato because no one wants to spend the money that they spent for it.
Musical chairs.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Fully agree.
So, especially before a book comes out, don't pay more than cover price.
So I'm dropping a video tomorrow highlighting the stuff coming out next week, and TMNT's on there, of course. In fact, I think I'm getting 2 IDW books and only 1 Marvel and only 1 DC. So I'm getting about as equal IDW as I am Marvel and DC combined.
It's not a heavy week next week either. So
no, yeah. I mean, I'm getting the Ten of Swords as my only Marvel, and DC is pretty light. I was thinking of trying to get back into Detective Comics next week, so I might give it a shot.
Yeah, I'll be buying 3 Jokers just because it's the final issue. I'm not going to give up now. As we mentioned, this weekend is Baltimore Comic-Con. If you want to check it out, BaltimoreComicConLive.com. We got some cool guests, some cool events happening. It's all free, almost all of it is free. I think all of it's free. I don't know. Stop by, check it out if you want. It's going to be fun. If you're not into online cons, that's cool. You don't have to come. But D&D will not be happening this weekend because of it, so we will be back next week. Go follow I Got Issues on Instagram because he has one of the best comic Instagrams around. I'm not just saying that because he's my buddy. That's just facts.
Gore Vidal, it's not a special book in the sense that there's any like huge spec on it. I think it's just that people have this panic about it. It's a new storyline involving like only 1 turtle left alive. The others have died. We don't know which turtle is survived. And so there's a little mystery of like, oh, which turtle is this? And he's got all the weapons of the turtles and he's still fighting crime, but it's a mystery. And so, even if there's a hot book in this run, like Issues is saying, it's certainly not going to be number 1. They're not going to reveal which turtle he is in number 1.
Probably like 4 on the last page, and then
I really hope they just don't tell you. That's kind of I even mentioned that in the video tomorrow. Like part of me just wants them to tell the story and just not tell us.
That would be amazing. That
would be so freaking awesome. So, anyways, yeah, that's it. I don't think there's anything beyond that.
Anything else you want to plug? Either one of you?
I'm good.
All right. Come back next week we'll probably be talking more about that. All right. Have a good night, everyone. And as always, never turn your back on the ocean.